Yeah. Welcome to the laboratory. Asphalt alchemy. Turning the dirt into the currency. Johnny Blaze on the track. To Cal. Look, visualizing the broken pavement where the young pharaoh starved, using the lyrical razor blade to carefully carve a path through the concrete matrix of the inner city block, answering the dangerous ticking of the eternal street clock. The asphalt alchemy is an ancient sacred art form, brewing up a thunderstorm to keep the brotherhood warm. I take the raw dirt from the project courtyard floor and manufacture pure gold coins for the industrial war. My vocabulary is a furnace melting down the land, feeding every single hungry mouth that needed to be fed. The syllables are shining like a fresh minute dime, escaping the restrictions of the system timeline. I stand on the corner with the herbal medicine cloud, rocking that heavy leather coat, looking exceptionally proud. The state wants to trap the mind inside a corporate cage, but I'm busy writing a legendary street scripture page. The agility is frantic, the flow is sharp and precise, shattering the cold jaws of the judicial vice. The street life is a casino where the weak lose the shirt, but the alchemist can find a fortune hidden in the dirt. I name drop the Shaolin warriors who survived the block, turning the raw gravel into a solid diamond rock, and left the blueprint written in the soot on the wall, predicting the exact methodology of the federal fall. Now I inherit the laboratory of the public housing grid, doing exactly what the ancient ancestors did. I spin the rhyme scheme like a centrifuge machine, purifying the energy of the neighborhood scene. The luxury of wealth is a consequence of the sweat, a monumental victory that the system will never forget. The undercover task force is monitoring the block, shocked by how the street king bypasses the lock. We don't need the validation of the mainstream press when we can find the sovereign power in the wilderness. I pass the golden currency to my family tight, illuminating the darkness of the project night. The matrix is a phantom and the matrix is outside the door, trying to reduce the siren back to the floor. The asphalt alchemy is a permanent psychological shield, guarding the collective interest on the concrete field. Method man style lyricism dropping like an iron hammer blow, watching the physical manifestation of the currency grow. The rhythm of the bass line is heavy in the chest cavity, breaking the dynamic pull of the planetary gravity. I lock the vault secure as the transformation is complete, ready to display the gold on the municipal street. The intelligence is clean and the ledger is straight, escaping the arrival of the structural judicial gate. We step out of the shadows into the morning light mist, with another territorial sector crossed off the list. The block belongs to the alchemist who masters the grind, leaving the material illusions of the pavement behind. The dust is gone and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom alive. From the dirt to the gold coin, lyrical agility is the multiplier. The hustle never slows down in the chamber. To Cal, let the beat fade out. Let the beat fade out. Yeah. Sharpen the blade on the dusty vinyl edge. The frequency is lethal tonight. The boardroom executives are not prepared for the execution. Let the beat drops now. Look, visualizing a corporate high-rise where the phonies negotiate. Delivering the bass line so heavy it can instantly terminate. The structural integrity of the artificial commercial sound, bringing the entire synthetic castle straight to the ground. The guillotine groove is a technical presentation of the blade, cutting through the weak contracts that the industry made. My flow is exceptionally sharp like a freshly polished sword, slicing the authority of the deceptive major label board. They sit behind the glass desk, sipping on the expensive wine, completely unaware of the destruction on the audio line. The low-end frequency drops in the speaker cabinet shape, covering the metaphorical heads of every monumental fade. They wanted a commercial jingle for the radio station stream, but they inherited a nightmare inside a beautiful dream. I stand in the center of the recording studio chamber booth, unleashing the raw, unadulterated power of the pavement. True. The cadence is a heavy iron blade dropping from the wooden frame. And then the fraudulent monopoly of the corporate game. The street life is a casino where the artists get exploited, but the independent general remains highly anointed. I name drop the classic masters who refuse to wear the chain, finding the ultimate victory in the middle of the project pain. They left the blueprint written on the ancient acetate disc, teaching the youth how to navigate the financial risk. Now the new battalion occupies the production desk space, bringing the authentic definition back to the human race. The luxury of a major distribution deal is a total trap, designed to freeze the mental growth of the neighborhood map. But we wrap our artistic sovereignty in a rugged leather coat, leaving a permanent masterpiece that the ancestors wrote. The A&R executives are panicking inside the office suite, realizing they cannot duplicate the rhythm of the street. Our frequency is too heavy for their digital tracking system, shattering the matrix before they even know what hit them. I accelerate the speed of the lyrical execution pattern type, illuminating the dark corridor of the industry now. The matrix is a phantom and the matrix is losing control, failing to capture the essence of the independent soul. The guillotine groove is a permanent historical milestone, securing the complete dominion of the underground throne. Rugged independent lyricism dropping like a boulder stone, leaving the fake executives to weep and to suffer alone. The rhythm of the bass line is vibrating the concrete wall, signaling the definitive arrival of the institutional fall. I secure the master tapes as the execution is complete, ready to distribute the gold currency on the sector street. The ledger is clean and the marketing strategy is straight, storming the corporate gates before they can calculate. We step out of the studio chamber into the morning light mist, with another corrupt music executive crossed off the list. The culture belongs to the warriors who master the grind, leaving the temporary trends of the majors far behind. The old empire is decapitated instead, and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive. The blade is officially dropped. The fakes have been eliminated from the ledger. The underground owns the airwaves now. Let the beat fade out.
Down in the belly of the residential complex, where the steam pipes hiss and the pressure gauges rise. The K9 units are pacing the upper floors, completely blind. Hide the asset deep in the furnace heat. Look. Visualizing the subterranean depths where the foundation sweats, hiding the valuable operational assets away from the state threats. The boiler room blues is a heavy industrial atmospheric track, securing the financial wealth of the family. From the technical attack, I navigate the dark utility labyrinth beneath the apartment floor, carrying the heavy waterproof container through the rusted metal door. The central heating system is roaring with a massive thermal power, providing the perfect sensory shield in the midnight hour. The thick iron pipes are covered in a layer of ancient orange rust, blended with the grease in the decades of the neighborhood dust. I shove the package deep behind the main steam delivery valve line, where the intense chemical heat disrupts the tracking. K9 design. The police hounds can sniff out a trace on the pavement breeze, but they cannot penetrate the temperature of these burning trees. The baseline is thumping like a mechanical piston in the dark space, testing the absolute structural stability of the storage space. I adjust the iron pressure dials to keep the vapor flow steady and high, masking the center of the enterprise from the government spy. is a casino where the exposed lose the treasure chest, but the calculated engineer puts the asset in the safest nest. I name drop the old school pharaohs who utilize the structural grid, hiding the legacy of the family. Exactly like the ancestors did. They left a mechanical map scratched on the hot water tank frame, teaching the youth how to protect the capital from the system game. That new generation occupies the mechanical basement room floors, guarding the monetary resources of the ongoing project wars. The luxury of a digital bank vault is a trap for the corporate king, forcing the street soldier to rely on what the industrial pipes bring. But we wrap our operational security in the heavy leather coat design, bypassing the tracking mechanisms of the municipal timeline. The handlers are leading the dogs through the hallways up above, wondering why they can't find a single trace of the product we love. But our chemical configuration is buried in the intense thermal steam, shattering the matrix of the municipal task force stream. I like the heavy access panel secure with a thick iron chain link, leaving the state investigators with absolutely nothing to think. Yeah, the matrix is a dragnet and the matrix is scanning the building block, hoping to confiscate the entire operational currency stock. The boiler room blues is a permanent psychological fortress wall, preventing the sudden arrival of the structural financial fall. Rugged independent lyricism dropping like a molten iron amber weight, defeating the objective of the occupying municipal state. The rhythm of the low end is vibrating the concrete subfloor tonight, illuminating the dark underground tunnels with an internal light. I step away from the furnace fire as the configuration is complete, ready to return to the surface level of the sector street. The ledger is clean and the strategic placement remains straight, escaping the arrival of the judicial checkpoint search gate. We climb the metal ladder back into the evening light mist, with another primary asset storage successfully crossed off the list. The block belongs to the warriors who master the industrial grind, leaving the surveillance illusions of the pavement far behind. The house of folding stick and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive. The heat is the perfect shield. The dogs are barking at empty hallway walls. The wealth is secure behind the steam lines. Let the beat fade out. Yeah. Crack the seal on the glass bottle tonight, standing right on the geographic coordinates of the tragedy. A final salute to the fallen soldier of the block. Let the liquor hit the pavement. Look, visualizing the exact fracture in the great pedestrian path, where a child or partner experienced a sudden violent wrath. The concrete commemoration is a solemn ritual on the corner zone, honoring the memory of a prince who was stripped of his throne. I hold a freezing cold bottle of the premium malt liquor type under the flickering amber glow of the municipal street light. I twist the metal cap off slow and let the vapor smoke escape, looking at the neighborhood layout in the industrial landscape. Shade, yo, the liquid spills out in a steady stream onto the dirty asphalt ground, disappearing into the masonry cracks without a single human sound. A symbolic gesture of the deep respect for the day one friend who navigated the dangerous block until the catastrophic end. The bass line is thumping low like a funeral march inside the chest, putting my psychological stability to the ultimate testing test. The state wants to wash away the history of the project youth, but the stain on the pavement remains as the absolute truth. We don't need a monument built by the city council board when we can honor the fallen soldier with the lyricism sword. The street life is a a casino where the young lose their life stake, and the environment leaves a permanent psychological heartache. I name drop the pharaohs who were lost to the systemic grind, leaving a massive void inside the collective family mind. They used to walk this identical path with the hunger and pride before the cold reality of the corner took the spirit inside. Now their legacy is just a memory shared over the cold brew, answering the predictable questions of the remaining crew. The luxury of a proper burial is a rarity in the ghetto land, forcing the street operators to make a definitive stand. I wrap my heavy leather coat tight against the evening wind breeze, watching the malt liquor drop beneath the shadow of the trees. The undercover task force is watching from the intersection far, trying to decipher the meaning of the ritual by the car. But this is a sacred language that the state can never understand. The sovereign bond between the warriors of the concrete land. I look down at the wet stain as the final drop hits the stone, accepting the heavy responsibility of navigating the block alone. The matrix is a meat grinder and the matrix is exceptionally cold, failing to value the lives of the soldiers before they grow old. The concrete commemoration is a permanent historical marker sign, documenting the sacrifice of the brothers on the front line. Rugged, independent lyricism dropping like an iron amber weight, shattering the illusions of the occupying municipal state. The rhythm of the low end is vibrating the foundation bricks tonight, illuminating the dark corridor of the memory with a brilliant light. I discard the empty glass container in the green metal bin, refusing to let the depression of the environment win. The intelligence is sharp and the survival strategy stay straight, escaping the arrival of the structural judicial checkpoint gate. We step away from the corner into the midnight light mist, with another fallen soldier officially added to the remembrance list. The block belongs to the ancestors who mastered the heavy grind, leaving the temporary material illusions of the pavement behind. The sorrow is heavy and stiff, and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive.
Rest in peace to the true soldiers. The pavement will always keep the record clear. Yeah, we stay standing on the foundation they built. Let the beat fade out.
Yeah, the winter is freezing out here, but the internal fire is blazing. Heavy leather coat zipped all the way up, Johnny Blaze in the cold. To Cal, look, visualizing the public housing corridor where the frost bites, surviving the brutal temperature of the dark city nights. The project paradox is a masterclass in the endurance game, keeping the spirit warm while the environment remains tame. The concrete jungle is a freezer full of industrial ice, testing the stability of the soldiers paying the price. I wrap my sovereign soul in a heavy sheepskin leather hide, guarding the internal warmth that is glowing deep inside. The raw underground rhythms are thumping inside the chest, putting our psychological defense to the ultimate test. The baseline is a furnace heating up the freezing apartment block, answering the dangerous ticking of the corporate clock. We stand on the snowy corner while the north wind blows, exhaling the thick herbal smoke from the mouth and the nose. The state wants to freeze the growth of the local youth, but we are busy generating the absolute sonic truth. The syncopated drum pattern is cracking like a whip, refusing to let the geographic territory slip. Yeah, the street life is a casino where the weak turn to stone, but the rugged operator builds a kingdom on a frozen throne. I name drop the Shaolin brothers who weathered the storm, using the heavy boom bap to keep the collective
the brotherhood warm. They left the blueprint written in the frost on the glass, watching the terrifying when the calendar pages pass. Now the young prince inherits the freezing laboratory keys, moving the product through the blizzards of the project trees. The luxury of a fireplace is a myth in the ghetto zone, leaving the street soldier feeling completely alone. But the leather is a shield from the societal frost, compensating for the structural comfort that we lost. The undercover task force is shivering in the surveillance van, shocked by the internal temperature of the tactical plan. We don't need the central heating of the municipal grid when we can find the fire that the ancient ancestors did. I pull the hood tight as the snow begins to fall, standing tall against the perimeter of the structural wall. Yeah. The Matrix is a phantom and the Matrix is exceptionally cold, watching how the stories of the winner's survival are told. The project paradox is a permanent psychological defense, navigating through the middle of the hardship immense. Method man style lyricism dropping like a frozen iron weight, shattering the illusions of the occupier municipal state. The rhythm of the low wind is shaking the concrete floor, fueling the fire of the ongoing industrial street war. Secure the perimeter as the configuration is complete, ready to display the stamina on the icy sector street. The intellect is clean and the internal balance is straight, escaping the arrival of the structural judicial gate. We step through the snowdrift into the morning light mist, with another winter survival crossed off the master list. The block belongs to the warriors who master the grind, leaving the freezing illusions of the pavement behind. The ice will melt instead, but the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom alive. Yeah, heavy leather on the back, raw rhythms in the soul. The cold cannot stop the flame in the chamber. Tick out, let the beat fade out. Let the beat fade out. Let the beat fade out.
Midnight on the block, the mist is rolling in thick from the riverbed. Walking back from the corner store alone, listen to the pavement behind you. Yeah, look, visualizing the wet asphalt under the dim municipal light. Walking home from the corner store in the middle of the night. The phantom footsteps are echoing through the freezing gray mist. Yeah, suggesting that my corporate name is on a tactical hit list. Yeah, I carry a brown paper grocery bag tight against the chest frame, listening to the Hebel Blitz playing the Predator game. Every single stride I take is replicated in the dark shadow space. Forcing a sudden spike of adrenaline inside the heart race. I slow down my pace to see if the rhythm behind me will drop, but the mysterious tracking boots refuse to hesitate or stop. An undercover agent or a rival shooter lurking in the fog cloud, trying to convert a living street king into a white shroud. The baseline is thumping low like a warning signal in the air, testing the absolute stability of my psychological Google figure. I take my right hand buried deep inside the pocket wall, prepared to unleash the heavy metal counter and if the stakes fall. The architecture of the project courtyard creates a double echo sound, making it exceptionally difficult to map the dragging ground. The street life is a casino where the walkers get ambushed quick and the environment flat plays a fine mental deception trick. I name drop the old school pharaohs who vanished on this identical path, falling victim to the nocturnal violence and the systemic threat. They left a warning blueprint written in the memory of the block, teaching the youth how to handle the pressure when the hounds stalk. Now the new generation navigates the misty concrete fortress floor, surviving the silent larger operations of the ongoing street war. The luxury of a peaceful midnight stroll is completely dead out here, demanding absolute sensory awareness. But we wrap our operational security in the heavy rugged coat leather, refusing to let the spirit break under the pressure of the weather. The footsteps behind me are getting closer near the loading and dock bin, leaving me to have wondered if this journey is the arrival of the end, but the executive mind doesn't panic under the immediate threat, calculating the defensive maneuvers that the track and target never met. I make a sudden sharp pivot toward the primary apartment building gate, bypassing the hidden ambush trap of the municipal state. The matrix is a phantom, and the matrix is stalking the path, hoping to catch the sovereign king in the middle of the aftermath. The phantom footsteps, a masterclass in the psychological strain, forcing a street poet to find the absolute focus inside the pain. Working independent lyricism, dropping like an iron anvil block, answering the dangerous ticking of the eternal judicial clock. The rhythm of the low end is shaking the foundation breaks tonight, illuminating the dark corridors with a brilliant internal light. I reach the heavy steel frame door and I slip inside the secure hall, watching the track and shadow dissolve against the exterior wall. The intelligence is clean and the defensive posture remains straight, escaping the arrival of the structural judicial checkpoint gate. We step through the security matrix into the dry hallway space with another midnight tracking hazard successfully erased. The block belongs to the warriors who mastered the survival grind, leaving the terrifying illusions of the pavement far behind. The pursuit is empty instant and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive. Yeah. The footsteps stopped at the gate, just a shadow disappearing into the rain. Yeah. Step into the midnight darkness. The municipal task force has set the perimeter, but the movement is invisible. Advanced martial arts on the concrete. Look. Visualizing the industrial grid where the shadows collide, using the lyrical shadow box maneuver to safely slide through the complex network of the city surveillance web, watching the power of the local authority flow and ebb. The Shaolin shadow box is a technical defensive stance, defeating the objective of the task force. Tracking glance, I move through the dark corridors of the project block, answering the dangerous ticking of the eternal street clock. Advanced verbal combinations are slicing through the air, dodging the hidden camera units hidden on the stair. They set the traps in the alleys in the courtyard space, hoping to capture a footprint of the sovereign race. But my cadence is a phantom skipping across the track, leaving no digital evidence for the agency to track. The baseline is a shield in the middle of the night, guarding the collective interest from the searchlight light. I execute a flawless pivot near the loading dock station, escaping the jurisdiction of the municipal federation. Yeah. The street life is an arena where the slow get caught, but the trained warrior practice is what the ancestors taught. I name drop the ancient masters who commanded the dark, leaving the permanent historical and philosophical mark. They wrote the scriptures in the soot of the chimney stack, predicting the exact moment that the state would attack. Now the young operator inherits the tactical keys, moving like a whisper through the frozen project trees. The luxury of safety is a myth in the urban zone, forcing the street soldier to rely on the mind alone. The heavy jacket is zipped to protect the inner frame from the cold deception of the institutional game. The undercover vehicles are idling around the bend, hoping to witness the definitive down of a friend. But we analyze the geometry of the perimeter line, using the supreme wisdom of the family design. I step over the tripwire hidden in the gravel ground, maintaining the solid nature of the physical sound. Yeah. The matrix is a labyrinth and the matrix is watching close, hoping to locate the coordinates of the street ghost. The Shaolin shadow box is a permanent psychological wall, preventing the sudden arrival of the structural fall. Rugged underground lyricism dropping like an iron plate, shattering the illusions of the occupying state. The rhythm of the low end is thumping in the chest cavity, defeating the dynamic pull of the municipal gravity. I secure the final exit as the maneuver is complete, ready to display the dominance on the sector street. The intellect is clean and the strategy is straight, escaping the arrival of the judicial checkpoint gate. We vanish through the fog into the morning light mist, with another successful evasion crossed off the list. The block belongs to the warriors who master the grind, leaving the material illusions of the pavement behind. The traps are empty instead, and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of
of the kingdom alive. The movement was too fast for the camera. The task force is left chasing reflections. The kingdom remains intact. Let the beat fade out.
Yeah. Step light on the concrete floor. The hallway is pitch black tonight. Avoid the landlord at the front desk. Watch out for the eyes in the shadows. Look, yeah. Visualizing a public housing tower corridor maze, moving silently through the darkness where the phantoms graze. The corridor creepers, a tactical execution of the stride, keeping the physical frame completely camouflaged and wide. I glide past the rusted apartment doors without a sound, avoiding the creaking spots on the dirty linoleum ground. The landlord is waiting downstairs with the financial ledger book, hoping to catch a glimpse of the king with the predatory look. And the local neighborhood spies are peeking through the keyhole slot, reporting every single movement back to the task force spot. But my shadow movement is flawless like a whisper in the wind, leaving no trace of the destination where the operation began. The baseline is thumping low like a heartbeat in the chest, putting my internal sensory awareness to the ultimate test. I pull the dark hood low, the master profile of the face, slipping right through the perimeter of the dangerous space. The air is heavy with the scent of the industrial soot, as I calculate the exact placement of the traveling foot. The street life is a casino where the lookers double cross, but the midnight operator avoids the technological laws. I name drop the old school pharaohs who mastered the night run, vanishing into the structural darkness before the arrival of the sun. They left the blueprint written in the dust on the railing beam, teaching the youth how to escape the surveillance machine stream. Now the new generation occupies the concrete fortress floor, yeah, navigating the interior maze of the ongoing project war. The luxury of a well-lit apartment hallway is a myth out here, forcing the street soldier to conquer the immediate environmental fear. But we wrap our operational security in a heavy leather coat frame, refusing to become a casualty of the institutional game. The informants are whispering behind the thin drywall sheet, hoping to sell a piece of data to the hounds on the street. But our frequency is too low for their basic listening gear, shattering the matrix before they even know that we are near. I reach the emergency exit staircase door at the end of the line, securing the absolute completion of the family design. The matrix is a trap and the matrix is hiding in the dark, hoping to leave a permanent institutional tracking mark. The corridor creep is a permanent psychological shield, guarding the collective brotherhood on the concrete field. Rugged independent lyricism dropping like an iron anvil weight, defeating the objective of the occupying municipal state. The rhythm of the low end is vibrating the concrete wall, preventing the sudden arrival of the structural fall. I lock the final latch secure as the maneuver is complete, ready to execute the next phase on a sector street. The intelligence is clean and the internal balance is straight, escaping the arrival of the judicial checkpoint gate. We step through the rear exit into the morning like mist, with another successful hallway evasion crossed off the list. The block belongs to the warriors who mastered the grind, leaving the surveillance illusions of the pavement behind. The spies are blind and stated, and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive. They didn't hear a single footstep. The landlord can't collect what he can't see. The ghost has left the building structure. Let the beat fade out. Yeah. Pick up the receiver. Listen to the background frequency. A sharp digital click on the wire. The federal agents are officially on the line. Look, visualizing the public housing unit where the walls are thin. Hearing a strange high frequency distortion start to begin. The static surveillance is a chilling electronic sound, signaling the arrival of the federal task force on the ground. I hold the plastic receiver tight against the left earlobe, detecting the invasive reach of the global monitoring probe. Yeah, a sudden sharp click interrupts the regular baseline flow, confirming that the agency is listening to everything we know. They tap the main junction box down in the basement space, hoping to gather digital evidence against the sovereign race. But my vocabulary instantly switches to an encrypted slang, protecting the corporate interest of the original neighborhood gang. Yeah, we don't drop the legal names or the weight of the product load, moving the entire conversation into a completely different code. The baseline keeps thumping like a heavy rhythmic shield, guarding the operational data of the concrete field. I glance out the window at the dark municipal street line, spotting the unmarked utility van tracking the family design. The street life is a casino where the phone lines are compromised, leaving the careless operators completely exposed and paralyzed. I name drop the ancient masters who spoke in the riddles tight, evading the audio traps of the government during the night. Yeah, they left the instructions scratched on the public booth frame, teaching the youth how to navigate the intercept game. Now the new generation occupies the targeted apartment block, answering the dangerous ticking of the eternal judicial clock. The luxury of a casual chat is a privilege of the past, when the federal indictment team is moving exceptionally fast. But we wrap our operational security in the heavy leather coat, leaving no verbal footprints on the tape that the agents wrote. The technician in the surveillance vehicle is scratching his head, unable to make sense of a single word that the general said. Our frequency is too complex for their basic software system, shattering the matrix before they even know what hit them. I hang up the receiver slow with a smile on the face, knowing that we completely outsmarted the conspiracy case. Yeah. The matrix is the web, and the web is listening to the breath, trying to convert the private communication into economic death. The static surveillance is a permanent reminder of the heat, forcing the street king to remain highly cautious on the street. Rugged independent lyricism dropping like an iron anvil weight, defeating the objective of the occupying municipal state. The rhythm of the low end is vibrating the concrete wall, preventing the sudden arrival of the structural fall. I secure the primary communication line as the analysis is complete, ready to execute the physical maneuvers on the sector street. The ledger is clean and the verbal strategy is straight, bypassing the traps of the judicial checkpoint gate. We step out of the apartment unit into the afternoon mist, with another federal wiretap crossed off the master list. The block belongs to the warriors who master the grind, leaving the surveillance illusions of the pavement behind. The lines are dead instead, and the dynasty is destined to thrive, keeping the legendary spirit of the kingdom completely alive. Listen to the clicks. They record the audio, but they can't decode the intellect. The operation stays invisible on the wire. Let the beat fade out.